Okay, in terms of appearance, so he says, here also strive for moderation. So he says is, don't dress like a rag picker, but don't dress in a way that makes other people turn around and feel that you're making them feel uncomfortable by just how you look. You understand what I mean? So don't dress to kill, you don't want to be the one who walks in a room, wow, did you see her? Okay, why not? So there are two things. One is it makes you think, forget about other people, that your human value is the way other people see you. That you're important if other people say, and what if they don't? Okay, clear? So they did a survey in an Ivy League college, which made this even more frightening, 18-year-olds. Okay, if you had to have a catastrophe happen in your life, you could either become completely paralyzed in an accident, or you could gain 100 pounds and not be able to lose it. Which catastrophe would be worse? What is
paralyzed people?
You can't walk.
Vast majority of them said paralyzed.
No, that's worse.
They would say no. They said they would choose to be paralyzed rather than to be fat.
No, but you can't walk and you're paralyzed.
Can't walk, can't use your arms.
People are crazy.
Yeah, it tells you a great deal about the superficiality of the society in which we live.
Wow.
Okay, clear? So the reason they're doing this is that people in that society are judged by how they look. It's not in their mind somebody will judge, but people do judge you. So you have to make a choice somewhere along the line. Either you're on the bus or you're off the bus. Either you're amongst those who judge others and judge themselves by appearance, or you're not. Okay. So he does say to dress with moderation, clean, neat, appropriate for your status in life, okay, but not extreme. Okay, so I'm going to move from there one step further than he does, which is, you're familiar with the modesty laws that from women keep, right? Where do you think that's coming from? What's the point of departure that makes the Torah require modesty? Why? Okay, so one is protection and comfort, and the other is self-esteem. What would you say? Right, they're saying you're outside and not your inside. So I'm going to give you a context for it. This is the Torah's context. There is 613 mitzvot. Remembering 613 anything is very difficult. Do you all know your social security numbers?
Yes.
Good for you. A lot of people don't. It's too many numbers. Okay. So there are all sorts of systems for which people reduce them. So one system is just like memorize the ones that are still practicable today without the Beis HaMikdash. That brings us down to a little under 300. Okay, that's half. Could you remember 300 things?
No.
Next reduction. Okay, in Tehillim, okay, David reduces it to 15. If you remember these 15, they'll make you remember the rest. Meaning, they're like topic headings. Remember this, and it'll bring you the rest. Some people find 15 too hard. There was a reduction to 9. Okay, then there's a reduction to 3. So I want to tell you the 3. One of them is love kindness. What does kindness mean? Give me a definition of kindness. Okay, doing good for others without self-interest. Now, in this sense, the other could be God also. Doing good for the sake of something that's not you, to benefit them. Okay, clear? That's one. Now, that's going to take with it all of the positive commandments. Give charity, pray every day, that expresses you to God, love your neighbor. Okay, clear? Number 2, there are only 3. Do justice. Notice you don't have to love justice, you just have to do justice. What's justice?
The right thing, like basically.
Equality.
An example would be equality. The right thing is very vague.
Basically doing what is meant to be, like the proper thing to do, like what is deserving of the situation.
Okay, so I want to tell you the difficulty in what you're saying, and what you're saying also. It's 2 words. Says who? Okay, so if you want to say appropriate in a situation, who says that this is appropriate in the situation? There's a tribe in Central Africa, I'm not making up their names, they really are called the Uggs. They're hunter-gatherers. If somebody can't keep up with the pace of the trail, they're left behind. So this means old people, young children, women who go into labor during the day, they're left behind. If they're left behind, they die. So the proper thing, if the person you love more than you love your own life trips over a branch and sprains his ankle, is to let him die in that society. So because of that, when you say something like, do the right thing, you have to deal with, says who? When you say, as you did, equality. So in America, there's currently a great deal of talk surrounding the relationship between the police and the black community. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So do you see that there are two sides of the coin, or you only see one side?
Two sides.
There are two sides. What are the two sides?
The police side and the black people side.
The black people die disproportionately, but the policemen who they killed are not the ones who killed black people. Do you realize this? They shot policemen who were unrelated to crimes against blacks. So that's not equality. It's not balanced. The side of somebody who kills a policeman knowing that they're innocent is much more severe than a policeman who shoots somebody out of mistaken judgment, which is bad enough. It's bad enough. But this is even worse. You understand this? So oftentimes, unless you say, says who, you don't have a good answer. So the Jewish view of justice is that humans don't know how to make justice, can't make justice. Justice comes from God. This will include all the negative commandments, don't murder, don't steal, but it'll also include don't break Shabbos, don't eat on Yom Kippur. It's part of keeping balance in the world. So we have all the positive and all the negative, but there's a third. So the third one is walk modestly before God. So it's not what you do, it's how you walk before God. You have to walk before God modestly, meaning with awareness of His presence, with a certain sense of your being small and Him being big.
At all times?
Always. So a person who walks modestly before God by the nature of things can't do the equivalent of stepping on somebody else's neck to get themselves a better position in their job. How could they do that in the presence of God? Do you understand this? So part of that, part of being modest involves headset, part of it is speech, and part of it is appearance. What do you think modest thinking would be?
Pure thoughts.
Pure thoughts. Also, not self-aggrandized, not judgmental thoughts, not, I don't want to have anything to do with her. None of that. Not dismissive thoughts. Okay, thoughts on which you could almost become the other person. Okay, what do you think modesty in speech would be?
Always talking, not cursing.
Yeah, not vulgar.
Lashon hara.
Okay, not lashon hara, not vulgar speech, not cursing, not referring to people by their body parts, as is the minhag in some parts of Brooklyn. Okay, okay. Okay, but it also means letting the other person talk, making room for them. Okay, not creating conversation that's full of self. Okay, modesty and appearance would mean not having an appearance that says all I am is a body, because you're a soul, you're before God. So this is where the modesty laws come from, which of course, what that will mean will have to do with different societies. Certainly nobody who's in Mechina thinks in terms of what the halacha is, because we're coming from a different society. That makes sense to you? But the principle is a reasonable principle. Does the principle make sense to you? So it's not about self-protection, and I want to point out to you in what sense it isn't. But that'll be for next time.